Hello everyone, thank you for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. He has been in captivity for over 1 week and he is now free. He is a reverend father who was captured by armed men close to a week ago, and we will bring in to you details on the man of God who was set free, and he returned to Manfi in the southwest region of the country earlier today. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. We begin this newscast in Manfi in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. Reverend Father Christopher Eboka, who has been in captivity for close to 1 week now, is free. He is once more a free man. He was set free earlier today by those who kidnapped him or who abducted him and were keeping him in captivity for close to a week, and now he is back to Manfi in the southwest region of the country. He was picked up by unknown persons while he went to visit outstation churches. That was days before Pentecost Sunday, and father and his bike rider stayed in captivity for close to a week and some days. Reverend Father Christopher Eboka is the communication director of the Manfi Diocese of the Roman Catholic Church. As you can see in those images, his collaborators, his fellow men of God, brothers and sisters who received him in Manfi today in celebration. Take a listen to him.
They're here with us. We are rejoicing now, Sakum.
Yes, I'm very happy. The Lord has done it for us. Every mother Christian charity has won the battle for us.
Amen.
As you see me, I am very fine.
Thank you very much, Father.
Nobody has touched me. I am whole and hearty. Together with my bike man.
Amen.
Thank God.
We are welcoming you to back home.
And he is one of the recent cases of kidnapping in the northwest and southwest regions of the country within the context of the close to 5-year-long armed conflict going on there. Kidnappings and of course destruction of properties, killings continue in those two regions. And yesterday some inhabitants of Nkwen in the Bamenda 3 subdivision were on the streets protesting against killings and other atrocities being committed in their locality by non-state armed group fighters and soldiers who are also accused of committing some of the atrocities within that part of the northwest region and the rest of Anglophone Cameroon. And they were protesting after one of theirs was shot dead by an armed individual, by an armed civilian. And joining us from the United States of America is an elite of Nkwen in the northwest region of the country, Dr. Nicholas Ngu Santos, founder of the Peace Task Force Initiative, grandson of one of the fathers of reunification, John Ngu Foncha, pioneer elite in the pioneer student leader of the University of Buea from 1992 to 1997. Is an elite of Nkwen. You're welcome.
And it's an honor again to be on Equinoxe Television.
Dr. Nicholas Ngu Santos, an elite of Nkwen in the northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, joining us from the United States of America, and he's going to be talking about the issues happening in his community back home. Said earlier that he is the grandson of one of the fathers of Cameroon's reunification, John Ngu Foncha. He is the founder of the Peace Task Force initiative, an initiative put in place in view of helping or contributing to efforts to restore peace and normalcy in the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest region of the country, the southwest regions of the country. And I equally said he was a pioneer student leader in the University of Boya, and he's also one of the organizers of the Ghana Peace Conference, the conference which is being organized with the intention of bringing Cameroonians on the same table, on a neutral ground, notably in Ghana, in order to discuss the way out of the socio-political and security tensions in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon, a crisis that has been pulling on for close to 5 years today, and leaving several persons dead, several persons rendered or transformed into disabled persons, several persons maimed, displaced, in hundreds of thousands who are now IDPs, internally displaced persons seeking refuge in other parts of the country, as well as hundreds of thousands of refugees seeking refuge in neighboring Nigeria. Dr. Nicholas Santos, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babila Jonathan. It's an honor to be again on your television platform to address some issues of very important concern.
The people of your community in Kwen, in the Bamenda 3 subdivision, were on the street and they were protesting against killings and atrocities committed largely by both non-state armed group fighters and soldiers. What's your reaction to this?
Yes, Mr. Babila, this has been a big debate amongst the elites of Kwen. But I will say without any blink of an eye that all pointers are allegedly to the voices in the bushes who appear in civilian dresses with guns, and their prime motive is to extract money. They go about looting, killing, and they go about raping and committing all sorts of atrocities within the community of Nkwen. And this has not been only in Kwen, it has been a story across the entire story across the entire territory or the nation, typically amongst the English-speaking regions. But I will tell you that when Kwen, which is the headquarters of Mezam, and Mezam, which is the headquarters of the northwest region, that's the nucleus and the heartbeat of the northwest region. And so, thanks to God that the phone of Nkwen, His Royal Highness Fon Azefo III, is a no-nonsense person who does not tolerate any type of armed robbery, any type of looting, and any type of killing within his community. We've been working hand in hand. The elites have been working hand in hand with the phone to identify who these suspects are and to turn them over to the forces of law and order, because it is high time that our community begin to collaborate with the forces of law and order to turn these criminals in. Because even amongst those elites who stand for a support of separatists or a support of the separatists, they are also saying that these are not Ambazonia Restoration Forces, or neither are they ADF. So they are saying that these are thieves, but we are telling them that if you claim that these people are not one of your people who are carrying out this mayhem on the people, then you have to come out and debunk this nonsense, because the killing on either side, be it by the military or be it by civilians who are armed, is uncalled for. That's contrary to human rights. And you don't rob people, you don't rape people, you don't loot people, and you shoot these parents in front of their children, in front of their grandchildren, in front of their mothers, and in front of their grandparents. This is an abomination, it's condemnable, and that's why I'm out here today. Thank you.
And there are equally other atrocities that are being committed elsewhere in the two Anglophone regions of the country. As you rightly indicated, we are getting information that all private oil mills around Lobe estate of the palm oil plantations in the Njan Division Southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon have been burnt down. And we're also getting information that one of the lawyers of the Naro 10, Sisikwa Yuktabe, and the others, Barrister Amungwa, has been arrested. What do you have to say about all these?
Mr. Babila, it has been a long cry. This is what happens when a country gets into war. This is what happens when the government of a country is unable to reach out and to find a lasting solution to this problem. I will tell you that some of us who had denounced this separatist ideology and who had quit for the so-called interim government, for which I was one as the spokesperson and the Undersecretary of Health and Social Services, I decided to quit because I thought that it has degenerated into an armed conflict for which it began with an all-civilian protest. The government's high-handedness in handling this issue did not also speak well in the international image. And so, what is going to happen in war? War is disorder. And there is no code of conduct for disorderliness. This is an opportunist. Armed robbers, thieves, gangsters have been unofficially legalized. Because there is disarray. There seems to be no one in control, no legal authority that is in control of the territory other than the population that have to take the laws into their hands and arrest these culprits by themselves and hand them over to whoever, even this law enforcement or the exercise of justice by the people. Because let me tell you, all this mayhem being caused on our people, all these arrest abductions, the military also is not helping, because arresting a lawyer, whereas the Amazonians are also arresting priests, arresting people, and then armed robbers are going after people who just came back with collecting credit union funds from small petty traders. For example, the man that was killed in Quen is one of an extended relative to me. He was collecting small funds from petty traders like bike riders, like tomato sellers, like pepper sellers, crayfish sellers. They come back with 500, 300, 400, and they put in savings, and he goes around and pick this money. When he came back with this money in a bag, which was about 3 million, as I hear, these boys appeared from nowhere. They called them the voices in the bushes. They appeared from nowhere with guns and ordered him to lie on his stomach. They asked who is the owner of the off license. There was an off license there, Elipo Bar. He was the owner. The wife said, no, I am the owner. They said, no, you the wife, you are not the owner. The owner should stand up here. Then the man came forth. He came forth, they said, where is the bag? The bag of money from the credit union that you've gone around and pick up monies which you are sleeping with to go and put in the bank tomorrow. That's the credit union bag. And they took this bag from him. And before the entire grandparents, grandchildren, wife, and everybody could realize, they had given him some shots on the leg. Papa. And then they finally finished with one shoulder shot in the heart and stabbed him with a knife. And he died in front of the entire family. This is an abomination. That's why my people of Quen have come out to denounce this in its entirety, that we will not sit and watch this type of thing continue to happen. And let me tell you, Mr. Babila, their sponsors are living with us right here. Even among the elites, there are some who support the atrocities, blaming it on Atanganji boys. I've said no. You can't be blaming
Please, the Peace Task Force Initiative, and you're also one of the organizers of the Ghana Peace Conference. How far have you gone with that?
Thank you. I think Mr. Ndonye of the Pan-African, Dr. Ndonye Peter of the Pan-African Organization was on your show last time to update you about that. We are on the same footing. He has been to Cameroon. He has organized peace training workshops in Boya to prepare participants. He has been in touch with the authorities in Yaoundé, because let me tell you, as I said before, there is no peace accord that can go ahead without or any peaceful discussions of such an international magnitude. that can go ahead without the government endorsement, because that's the sovereign state in question. And we are only calling on the government to send its representatives to come and listen and see what all the separatist leaders can come together and find as a headway or solution to this problem. If the government does accept this, and also the separatists, some of them have accepted. They have accepted to come. Even those who are headstrong, who have said they will not come, are prepared to send representatives and are prepared to join audiovisually. Which means...
Dr. Nicholas Santos, founder of the Peace Task Force Initiative and elite of Nkwen, speaking to us from the United States of America. Thank you for your time. The west region of the Republic of Cameroon is one of the French-speaking parts of the country that is directly affected by the security situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. With its closeness to the northwest region, some of the issues happening in the two English-speaking regions have been spilling over into that region, notably in localities along the border with the northwest region of the country, and that's why administrative authorities are taking measures to ensure the security and safety of the people, and also to ensure they are safe from the coronavirus pandemic. The governor of the West region, our Fonka Augustine, was discussing these issues with his collaborators recently in the chief town of the West region. Bafu, some details with Charles Ekome.
The security situation in the west region of the country over the past months has degenerated due to the Anglophone crisis, considering that this region borders the troubled northwest region, says the governor of the west region, our Fonka Augustine.
Since we've registered some problems within the last 6 months. Amongst them, we've registered so many attacks at the level of our region, especially the divisions bordering the west region and the southwest region, leading to the loss of lives of some military men and civilians.
The governor also explains the rising crime wave in the region, which has further escalated, a situation which, according to him, must be put to an end.
I would like to also mention this new phenomenon of a number of rape cases and kidnappings, a new phenomenon that we're just registering in our region. We think that at the end of this meeting, we should be able to map out strategies to put an end to this new form of criminality that is traumatizing the population.
The region did not also escape from the grip of the plaguing coronavirus pandemic, as it is said to be the third hardest hit region in the country.
COVID-19 has really come to change the lives of the population. It has affected us greatly because we are the third hardest hit region in the country, as well as several projects which would have helped in the development of the region that is dragging on, the case of Baba Jubamenda.
Despite all these problems faced by inhabitants of the region, Governor Awafonka Augustine sees positivity in the upcoming African Cup of Nations scheduled for 2022. He says they are proud of their achievement vis-a-vis this project, which has enlightened communities in the region.
A lot has been done economically since the issue of the AFCON, which has the West region will be harboring one of the pools. Because of that economic and social aspect, so many projects have been registered and executed in this region. We are really very proud because it is a new region and the population are very happy.
All that said, according to the governor, there is still much to be done in order to enforce security in the West region.
And elsewhere in the Republic of Cameroon, insecurity is equally dictating its own laws on the people. Now to the south region of the country, notably in Ebolowa, the mortal remains of a young man believed to have been assassinated by unknown individuals, was discovered in the Makela neighborhood, and the cause of his death is yet to be clearly established by medical professionals. Details in this report by Immaculate Fogwe.
The lifeless body of 25-year-old Remy Joseph being examined by a forensic doctor at the Mekalat neighborhood in Ibulwa, South region of Cameroon. The discovery, made in the early hours of May 31st, has left family members inconsolable. The relatives of the victim strongly believe Remy Joseph did not commit suicide but was rather assassinated. According to sources, Remy Joseph had a heated argument with his girlfriend last night after she received a phone call in his presence. I woke up in the morning and found him dead, but I did not get close to him because I was scared. I immediately alerted others and they confirmed that he is dead. I noticed that blood was oozing out from his nose and behind his head. It shows that he got involved in a fight. Yesterday night, he had an argument with his girlfriend because of a phone call. His girlfriend later went and slept, but I do not know if she woke up later because I equally fell asleep.
Sa copine est partie se coucher, mais je ne sais pas si elle s'est réveillée parce que moi j'étais encore endormie. Je ne sais pas.
Plus de 22 heures, nous étions ensemble.
I was informed in the morning that he is lying dead at home. We parted ways yesterday at about 10 p.m. He and his girlfriend had an argument that night, but they later reconciled. We do not know if he was killed or he died a natural death. His lifeless body was later taken to the Nongal Central Hospital's mortuary. While waiting for the forensic doctor to explain what must have killed the victim, elements of the Gali Gendarmerie have already opened investigation.
And in a similar incident, one of the clerks at the Court of First Instance of Konsamba in the Mongo Division of the Littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon has been stabbed to death. He was allegedly killed by a lady who is said to be the wife of a military officer, and the incident happened at about 11 a.m. today. The corpse of the deceased has been deposited in the Konsamba Regional Hospital, while security forces on an investigation have launched an investigation to clearly establish what happened there. Now to Yaoundé, in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Some patients, notably patients of kidney failure, went on a rampage today in front of the General Hospital protesting against inadequate services being delivered to them. Notably, they are unable to have their regular hemodialysis sessions, and so they went protesting in front of the General Hospital today, asking for adequate medical attention. We shall be coming back to that in greater details. Now we will talk about examinations in the basic education sector. Epileptic electric energy supply is frustrating preparations ahead of the end of year course examinations in the Mongo division, and candidates say much work is left undone as the two-shift system could not permit them to effectively cover their syllabuses, and this is of course the case with primary school pupils and even students. Details in this report by me, I'm Sean Sander.
Few days to the start of official end of course examinations in Cameroon, candidates in the Mongo division of the Littoral region are multiplying strategies for success. These strategies include, among others, intensified group studies, extra classes, late night studies and general revision mainly done in the evenings.
Some days we work from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and others we work from 5 to 6 p.m. only.
Some of the candidates say they could not effectively cover their syllabus with the two shifts educational system introduced in Cameroon and are thus compelled to work harder now to be able to catch up.
The two shifts educational system introduced this year made things difficult for us. It wasn't easy going to school in the afternoon under the sun to begin studies. We could not complete our program.
But the option to intensify studies only within the last days to the examination proper is being challenged by school administrators like Mr. Desiree Ntumba, principal of Government High School Penja.
We tell them that exams are prepared on the first day. Then you should endeavor to make sure that every day they read their notes. What they call stage blockade, we ask them not to do it because this stage blockade, as they call it, is a period where they will learn. They will read in the morning, read in the afternoon, and even read in the night. This will not help them prepare well their exams. Because if they do it, they will collapse during their exams. We see some students collapsing in the classrooms is because there's been reading overnight. So we ask them not to do that to prevent such situations. We advise them not to eat heavy and they should be eating much fruit. At the end of the day, they can go back and eat what the parents are prepared. And
the last minute preparatives in the Mungo division of the Littoral region is however faced with enormous challenges, including an epileptic electricity supply.
Some days we work from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and others we work from 5 to 6 p.m. only. It is not easy at all studying with the on and off electricity supply which we have here. The two shifts educational system introduced this year made things difficult for us. It wasn't easy going to school in the afternoon under the sun to begin studies. We could not complete our program.
To parents of candidates, experts recommend maximum understanding and collaboration with their kids during these final days as they cut their teeth and dot their I's.
And that's it for the first part of this newscast. Talking Point is up next. Dr. Chobofo Muchi Dita, cardiology fellow, public health specialist, West Virginia School of Medicine, is joining us from the United States of America. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Babila, and my regards to the entire audience.
The northwest region of the country, precisely from center, you are living in the United States of America, but you have been closely following up happenings back home. What is your take on the recent happenings in the northwest region of the country, precisely with some inhabitants of Quen taking to the streets to protest against atrocities being committed by non-state armed group fighters and also soldiers who are accused of committing some of the atrocities, the burning down of private mills around the Lobe estate in Ekondo Titi in the southwest region of the country, and the arrest of one of the lawyers of Sisiku and his collaborators, Barrister Amungwa.
Thank you so much, Mr. Babila, for bringing this up. And it's rather sad that Cameroon, which was at one point referred to as a peaceful African nation, is now the epicenter of all violence. But I want to make it very clear that in Cameroon, whoever is responsible for that is the government. If we have a government which for the past 5 years has been unable to gain control of its people, enforce law and order, then it is a failed government. What puzzles me is they keep doing the same things over and over, hoping to get new solutions. That is no way, and that is certainly the worst thing to do. It's been 5 years since the government started, and if they really believe in the use of force to subdue people who rightfully think they are being marginalized, not treated as equals in a country of their birth, then the government needs to think again. For 5 years, violence and all the heavy-handedness from the government has not solved this. And this is it. By the years, the people who are spearheading the uprising are getting better, with better tactics and better equipment. So if the government hasn't won, the government should know they would never win. And it is time for them to sit and discuss with people who have grievances. Because at the end of the day, the common man suffers on the street, and the government needs to sit up. If the government cares about the citizens of this nation, including those from the Northwest and the Southwest, then the government needs to make haste and talk to the people who together can, map out a solution to get these things addressed. When the people of Nkwen come out and they are angry at all the atrocities committed in their locality or in their community, the government's first and foremost duty is to enforce security. So where is the government? If the government has failed, they should make it clear and let the people know they need to turn to some other people. Likewise, this government is notorious and it keeps doing the same things over and over. Arresting the lead lawyer defending the Anglophone leaders in prison is one of the biggest mistakes of our time. And this is a government which arrests people without any due process. I don't know the specifics of what went on with this lawyer, but what I know is I wouldn't be surprised if the government violated its own laws and constitutions. And this is a government that needs to look at itself in the mirror and make the hard decisions and know that no matter our differences, the ultimate solution lies in dialogue. And for the kidnappings, Nijon has been kidnapped. The late Kazinatumi kidnapped. Recently, the priest has been kidnapped. And here we say, talking every day, this is not the solution. The solution is for the government to sit on a table and talk with people who control a significant proportion of these areas. Because if we had reasonable and meaningful government presence with their law enforcement officers, we would not be having this. All these events highlight the fact that the government's strategy for the past 5 years has failed, and they need to rethink. And it may be time to get new leaders who can come with fresh ideas.
You're throwing all the blames on government, but on the other side, the government authorities think that they have been doing almost everything possible to restore peace and normalcy in those two regions, but there is a resistance coming from the other side, the armed civilians and those who are fighting for cessation.
Mr. Babila, I'm tired of hearing we are doing all it takes. All we want is a solution. The person who lives in my village doesn't want to know what the government is doing. He wants to experience a better life. And we're tired of governments who for the past 5 years say they are doing all in their powers. If for 5 years they've been unable to deliver, then they should all unanimously resign and hand over powers to people who can lead this country, restore peace, and allow the Cameroonians to enjoy a peaceful life, a prosperous life, and have their rights respected. I'm not talking about the separatists. I lay the blame on the government because the government has the powers to sit and talk with the separatists and bring things back to normal. But because the government keeps using strategies which have never been used anywhere and they think they're going to win, that is where the problem is. The government should be humble. Go back and talk with these people and let the common man enjoy his or her life. And they can't keep telling us they're trying. I'm tired of their efforts. I want results.
Specialists And now we're going to talk about the coronavirus pandemic. The epicenter seems to have shifted from the United States to India. What's the situation there in the US where you are?
Well, Mr. Babla, talking about COVID, in the US, I think it's too early, but looks like the worst is behind us. And I think this is thanks to the vaccines. I think at least 50% of everybody in the US, more than 18 years old, has received 2 doses of the vaccine, which is very, very effective. I got vaccinated in December and January, and per the new guidelines, I'm able to walk without a mask if the local environments permit. And I'm sure you've been able to watch over this weekend events with thousands and hundreds of thousands of participants. This is something which didn't happen a year ago. So I'm here to say the vaccine has been the ultimate game changer. And sadly, I don't think Cameroon has done enough to get vaccines and get the people vaccinated. I hope the government would, at least this time around, bring fruitful and meaningful solutions for the Cameroonian people to gain access to vaccination and get vaccinated.
That the percentage of persons who are critically ill of coronavirus and who are dying is increasing. The number of persons critically ill who die of coronavirus is increasing in hospitals across Africa. What can possibly explain that?
Well, you know, the first thing is the major game changer when it comes to COVID has been the vaccines. When COVID struck, I was in New York and I know exactly what transpired. And since then, we've been on our heels, and the major changer, game changer, has been the vaccines. Most African countries, they are poor, they don't have access to vaccines, and a large proportion of their population is not vaccinated. And that is why we will continue seeing a significant proportion of Africans continue to die from this virus. And let's be clear about it. The pseudo return to normalcy in the US and other countries with high rates of vaccination should not be copied by Yaoundé, because they love copying everything abroad without taking the realities of the context of their own local environment into account. So we need to continue enforcing the measures of increased heightened hygiene, social distancing, and mask wearing, as well as limiting the unnecessary thousands of gatherers for ceremonies that could as well be put off. Because we don't yet have the vaccines, and most of our people are not protected, and until then, we cannot let go of the measures which have up to this time helped us.
Lifted the measures, but what we are observing in the society today in Cameroon is more or less a normal situation, a return to normalcy, where face masks are practically absent in places of mass gathering, markets, and social gathering. Everywhere, face masks are practically absent, and even the containers that were placed at different places for people to wash their hands are no longer there. Where the containers are there, there is no soap and there is no detergent, there is nothing. There's practical return to normalcy in Cameroon today.
Well, you know, the sad thing is we have a government in place which, to the best of my knowledge, is very, very confused, and they don't know what to do and what not to do. We are talking of a deadly disease, and yet basic measures cannot be put in place. And when they say, and probably they don't enforce the mask mandate, or they don't encourage the population to do things which are consistent with COVID prevention, I begin to wonder if they truly care about Cameroonians. Their nonchalant attitude, their negligence, and lack of effective investments in bringing about measures aimed at preventing COVID spread in Cameroon is very, very sickening. And this, to me, It's a sign that this government is interested in everything else but its population. And they need to step up. They need to listen to the science. They need to ask the epidemiologists in Cameroon, what is going on? How bad are we? If you look at the world map, Cameroon is one of the few African countries with a very high burden of COVID. And why is it so? Because we have a government that doesn't pay attention to the basics. I think if they're tired of what they're doing, they should all resign and hand over to people who are going to take the lives of Cameroonians to be valued lives and who are going to invest massively to make sure our people stay healthy and contribute to the growth of this nation.
Dr. Chorufo Muchidita, Cardiology Fellow, Public Health Specialist, West Virginia School of Medicine. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Babylon. My regards to everybody, most importantly, the community which raised me up at Tamafe.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today. Coming up next, Equinoxe.